Howdy folks, today we shall talk about the Aune S17 Pro amplifier Class A. That's all this is just an amplifier. It doesn't really have a lot of features. It's a particularly interesting amp. And, well, let's talk about some of the things. I think there's been other reviews about this, but this is 100% a desktop amp. It weighs about 55 pounds. Okay, I'm kidding, but it's a lot. 7 pounds maybe. It's an absolute brick. There's a huge toroidal transformer in this thing, and yeah, it's just complete brick. It's got every connection that you might want on an amplifier. Balanced ins and outs, standard stuff, RCAs. One thing though that I'll tell you that you probably aren't going to find anywhere else is that you cannot feed this professional level XLRs like from an interface, and I think trying to think, it's like over +4 dBV. So I'm trying to remember. I think my Mo 2 might go up to maybe 12 to 24 dBV. Anyway, it's very it's interesting that they put balanced inputs on these professional inputs, and then you can't run professional levels into it. So not super happy on that. You can basically, what happens is you'll hear some clipping in the high end when you're running at true professional level into this. So you can dial that down. What actually does work is turning the interface down -12 dBV, and that works fine. And but it's a thing. I just thought I'd mention it. So first we got, it's heavy as holy hell. It doesn't allow professional level inputs on the XLRs. I'm sure it doesn't output them either. It has an in and out on it, but okay. So, interesting. Weighs 55 pounds. Let's talk about some other things. Let's flip it on. And other people have talked about this, but I'll just reiterate it because I own it. All right, first off, what we see here is a shit display. This thing washes out. It's like ancient history type LCD display, I'm pretty sure. I don't think it's OLED. If you get off angle, it really washes out bad. It's just not aesthetically pleasing. They got weird ass colors going on there. And it's just a bunch of wasted space, essentially. Let me see. There is a little remote here, which looks about like this. So you can press this in and get to certain functions. Let's see. RCA, XLR. And you have high and low gain. I think you hold it in or something like that. Let me see. Yes, XLR, RCA. Tap it once. Shit, I don't remember. Then we got stuff on here. So MA, this is the current running into the Class A transistors on this. Lower current, higher current. Temperature over here, which this thing is a nuclear hot amplifier. So it'll get up to something like 69 degrees, haha, and then it turns its milliamps bias on the Class A transistors down to not overheat and melt. And if you look at this thing, let's see. Okay, yeah. So the vents are basically just this and this on the back panel, and it's just geez, everything else is sealed on this. The chassis gets extremely hot, unbelievably hot. It's literally as hot as the little rating here. So we got high and low gain there, and you can change just the volume, the bias, and the inputs, and that's it. All it does. It's got balanced and 4.4 XLR, and then a single in and out. That's it. Standard stuff. All right, so this thing is I think 7 watts at, I'd have to look at maybe 32 ohm. It's ridiculously powerful. Unless you're running huge planar inefficient cans, you're probably going to be fine with any kind of headphone. Probably, arguably, most of the things on the market you can run off this. The output impedance is about 1 point something ohm, between 1 and 2. It's so low that it's not going to change the frequency curve of really sensitive IEMs. There's some extremes in that it might apply, but overall it's pretty much fine with all IEMs. So it's a Class A honking beast of an amplifier, 7 watts, and that's its duty in life. And weighs a shitload. It gets ultra hot. It's got this shit display, which never turns off because I have not the new one, the EVO. So like, yeah, and it's expensive as hell, like $700, I think, maybe more, maybe 800 now. Tariffs probably jack that up. So I use this for IEMs, and so here's basically the tonality of this. It is actually more mid-centric and a little bit flatter sounding than most other like just standard amplifiers, and that's basically all I can tell you. So it may come across a little thick, a little bit shouty on some things, just perfect on others. Synergy matters a ton. I'm not going to shit my pants on this. I'm not going to recommend it. It's got too much things that you got to deal with. So if you just stick this thing on like a summer day, you stick it just on, turn it on, and at 100 milliamps, it's very likely going to overheat after a few hours and then turn itself down to 50, which is just like, okay, fine. So I actually stuck a little fan on it, and I can keep it within check, but it's still at like 66, 67, 68 degrees Celsius. So it's just friggin' nuclear hot, man. But the volume control works really well. Again, Bucky. This thing is so powerful. If you happen to just like, you just don't want this thing to jack up to the stratosphere and blow your headphones out. Like, what the heck? So this is a feature. It's not a problem that it doesn't ramp up so fast because it's ridiculously powerful. 7 watts, which is about 1,000 times more than you need for your typical IEM. But I would say like on low gain, and then my DAC itself has different voltage outputs. It's like 3 of them. It's a Gishelli DAC. So I could put that on low, I guess, gain output, low voltage. And then this has a pretty nice swing on the volume. You can get it up to like, I don't know. I think it maxes out at 60? 63. Like, what? Okay. Why 63 out of all numbers? Just a weird number. Another weird thing, I guess. But anyway, you get a nice volume swing on this on like a low voltage DAC input on it. Also, just of note, I flipped between the balanced inputs and the RCA inputs using my Gishelli DAC, and either the Gishelli DAC sucks on RCA, which I don't think it does because I've tried it on a million other things, but either that or this thing sucks on single-ended inputs on RCA. It's just like, because you can flip with the remote between XLR and RCA, like instantly, and it's just like, whoa. What happened to the stage? It went and like just went boom, and more center focused and less expansive. So I don't know. Something could be my setup. I'm not sure. Maybe someone else can give their opinion on single-ended versus balanced on this thing. So no recommendation. Super interesting app. It does sound luscious, juicy, very, very bold, and certainly it has all the bass and treble you'd ever want. It doesn't roll anything or do anything, but it does feel like it pumps the mid-range up a little bit and sort of flatten things out a little bit in tonality, which again, synergy can either help or not, and pretty much that. Right on. And I will talk to you on the next one.